just calling the herd before I take the reins. Then we'll all march on Trento together. That was always my plan. Tell me, was this part of your plan?
Dr. Selden. Help us!
Bruh. Every damn time I think Foundation has peaked. They look me dead in the eye, smirk, and smash the more violence button like I owe them rent. For real, season 3, episode 6 didn't just raise the stakes, it spiked it through the table. My blood pressure, gone. My composure, non-existent. This show, OMG. This episode straight up chaos buffet. Gaal Dornick face to face with Demerzel, the final boss herself, and somehow, these two end up linking minds like they're in some mutant psychic chain. Watching Demerzel slide into Gale's future vision, bruh, that wasn't just tense. That was call your therapist tense. And the Mule making power moves like he's got Amazon Prime shipping for war crimes. Bruh really said, hold my whisper ship, and rolled up like he's speedrunning Planetary Conquest. That final shot, oof, you felt it. The whole episode was just escalation after escalation after escalation. And you know what? I've got theories. But before I unload them, I want to know, what hit you hardest? Was it Demerzel's death grip, the Imperial Library reveal, or the Mule's guess who's coming to dinner energy in the last 2 minutes? Or did you, like me, have to just pause mid-episode and just stare at the wall for a second? Drop your gut reactions in the comments because this one's gonna be a ride. And hey, hit that hit that like button harder than Gaal was hitting the panic button when she's met the Terminator's godmother, because we're about to deep dive into some wild stuff. We open with a role reversal for once. The Mule is the one having nightmares, and not just any nightmares. Gale's face is haunting him like an unpaid bill, which is wild to me because who else thought his obsession started after Pritcher met the Mule in episode 3? Show of hands. Nah, this man's been shook since before he even knew her name. It seems like not only is Gaal able to see the future, but it seems like her time travel abilities might have been allowing her to interact with it. First, she wrecks Harry's mental health. Now she's living rent-free in the Mule's head. Gaal is everybody's sleep paralysis demon. We then cut to last week's cliffhanger. Gaal staring down the Mistress Death herself. Demerzel's pissed, y'all. Like, your toddler broke my PS5 pissed. Dawn's nanites stopped transmitting, and she's out here throwing a full-on Cleon mom tantrum. And for all of y'all in the Foundation who prefer to Demerzel as an it rather than a her, it is mimicking the behavior of a Cleon mom tantrum. Okay? Laura Byrne is acting her circuits off. Gaal fires back, but come on. That's like showing up to John Wick's house with a Nerf gun. Demerzel dodges like Neo and gets hands on throat immediately. I swear, my heart rate matched Gale's in that scene. This robot ain't here for fucking negotiations. We then switch to New Terminus with Magnifico, Beta, Randu, and Torin heading to Foundation to trade Magnifico for independence. And they go straight to prison with Pritcher in his cell. After Randu and Pritcher give each other a warm welcome, they start hashing out how everyone ended up in a Foundation prison. Magnifico offers to play to calm everyone down, but he doesn't have his instrument. Pritcher pitches him the idea of Magnifico working against the Mule. And I'm side-eyeing right now, like real hard. He's playing this simple man act just a little too well. He's only playing to eat and live for another day. Get the F out of here. This man is sus. Anyway, the mayor walks in, explaining that it's finally time for them all to meet and sort all this mess out. We glide into stunning Mycogen visuals. Seriously, Foundation's VFX team is undefeated. I'm talking desktop wallpaper gorgeous. Anyway, Brother Day starts making his way through the market in full MCU disguise kit, hearing the news report broadcast about how Dawn effed up and lost most of his army with the enclosure. Day buys some exotic sweets for his suites and starts heading his way. Day eventually makes his way further into Mycogen, knocking on Song's door. Like a man with a plan. She opens instantly. And since when are folks in Mycogen that trusting? Get this girl a Ring camera doorbell. Anyway, Dawn grins and Song doesn't. Back to Demerzel's chokehold. Before Gaal answers anything, she immediately wants to be hypocritical and ask when Harry knew that Demerzel was a robot. And Demerzel says from day one. That the initial moment in season 1 when Harry was making his pitch to the Cleons, he was actually pitching Demerzel. And wow. That kind of makes sense. For the most part, I never really gave a lot of thought as far as figuring out when Harry realized Demerzel was a robot. If I'm being totally honest, a part of me just assumed that only Harry Black knew this information and that this was strictly based on Demerzel entering the vault in season 2. I assumed the sensors in the vault let Harry know that she was a robot and he responded accordingly. But in hindsight, it actually makes a lot more sense that Harry always knew that she was a robot. But now we're left wondering, if Harry knew Demerzel was a robot, why didn't he tell Gaal? And we're right back where we started between these two. This means Harry and Demerzel have been collabing behind the scenes, and her 18,000 years of memories went into fine-tuning psychohistory. That makes sense. Harry and Demerzel working together in secret. But when? When did Demerzel provide Harry with the data sets that he needed? Demerzel admits that she doesn't know how long Harry knew that Demerzel was a robot, but it seems like they've been working together a lot longer than even that day. But this is all mind-blowing information that I'm honestly still trying to fully process. Demerzel hears enough to let Gaal live when Gaal explains that she is Harry's plan. And then Gaal starts oversharing like she's on a bad first date. Second Foundation, powers, the Mule, breakfast menu, favorite song. Demerzel's skeptical, and the robot wants proof. We then switch back to the Foundation with Mayor Inver listening to the concerns of Beta, Randu, and Torrin. At first, he wasn't really listening, but Torrin is not with this shit lately, and ever since the Mule mentally abused him, he's been leading with his trauma. Then switch back to Demerzel and the show's pseudo-obsession with Demerzel's hiding spot for the Prime Radiant. Demerzel whips it out and shows off just how she's damn near mastered the Prime Radiant, like an Evolution Championship player with an arcade stick. Demerzel's got an idea. Vulcan mind-meld with a drowning simulator. Demerzel shares how she can basically stick her fingers in a person's brain and sees their thoughts. A skill she developed in one of her previous roles as an interrogator. We then switch back to the First Foundation, and the mayor gathers all of his leaders, all of his military men, and puts them in a room with Magnifico so that he can demonstrate the ability of his instrument in order to convince the Foundation to fight the Mule. He plays, and they get it. They all the way get it. they're sold on fighting the Mule. Just in time for Black Friday, the vault opens, PS5's in stocks, everyone's hyped. We then switch back to Day down on Mycogen visiting Song, doing his best not to make this awkward situation any more awkward. Song has had her memories erased and is confused as to why this man is in her home, or at least that's the game that she plays. She does this little seductive thing where she walks behind these water tubes in her house. And I didn't see it the first time, but on the second time I watched this episode, I noticed how her energy kind of shifts in this moment, giving me the impression that she's a lot more aware. Look at her body language. She looks like she's playing my guy Day, and I am ready to find out her motives. The Cleons make enemies. That's nothing new. But this show has shown us that they don't introduce these sorts of threads unless they're going to answer them, like who blew up the Star Bridge. Anyway, Song tries to tell or warn Day that she didn't mean any of that stuff that they were up to when they were playing house. And it was just for the money, baby. But Day is fully in disbelief. He wants to believe that he can have his happy ending, and then starts to get desperate. When he realizes that Song isn't going to willingly go along with whatever he's scheming, he tries to sweeten the pot by letting her know that he knows about her secret religion and even offers the idea of meeting a robot. Damn, Day is simping. Hands on neck again, and Gaal seeing the future in IMAX, and this is it. This is the moment of the episode. Now, real quick, did anyone else feel like the watcher was watching in this moment? You know what I mean? I could even swear that the Prime Radiant was able to see a little bit further into the future thanks to this moment between Demerzel and Gaal. Anyway, Demerzel rides shotgun in Gaal's body and scopes the battlefield. Imperial Library on Trantor. Demerzel lets her know immediately that the battle takes place on the Cleonic Dynasty's footsteps. Gaal is dumbfounded by this news, as we all are wondering how and why the hell would Gaal ever go back to Trantor. Demerzel then wants to know what happens after the battle, with Gaal telling her that ain't really nothing after. Everything is black. Demerzel is fresh out of fucks to give and strongly suggests that they run it back, and Gaal shows her what the F she's talking about. We then flash ahead to Demerzel experiencing the darkness from Gaal's perspective. This is when things go from effing weird to, oh my, did they just do that? We get this beautifully ethereal look at Demerzel in a completely black space. She looks around, sees a beam of light, touches it, and then bugs the F out. Next thing we know, Demerzel is waking up. And yeah, I had to let that sink in for a moment. Demerzel is picking herself up off the floor and waking up to see Gaal Dornick knock the F out. And immediately she starts to defibrillate Gaal. Long story short, that stuff messed Demerzel up, and she released an EMP as some sort of reaction. And hold up, let's not forget that Demerzel is the final boss, the boss of all bosses, and eventually Gaal is going to have to handle her too. But right now, we just got a clue. Final boss Demerzel can be hurt. Keep that one in the chamber. We then switch back to the Foundation with the mayor and Pritcher having a chat about how the mayor is on board the Mule gravy train, and he's going to investigate what the F is going on. But before they get into all that, who the hell is Pritcher working for, and tell me why it's not the First Foundation? Pritcher ain't snitching and sticks to his story. The mayor isn't with the shit, says some slick shit to Pritcher and leaves him in the room to watch his sweat dry. We then switch to Day and Song, with Day still trying to convince his lady that they're a thing. Day is not getting anywhere with Song and then notices that she has a communication device and she called for help. Before Day can even get out of what the deuce, we see Song's lady come busting through like a member of X-Force, shooting first, asking questions never. And then tells Day to eat shit for murking Mycogens. We then switch back to the Foundation with Torin, Beta, and the crew all getting together with the leaders of Foundation and making their pilgrimage into Dr. Selden's vault. And man, these are some gorgeous visuals. The vault in its prime radiant form is ethereal. I keep saying that, I know. What's even more reaffirming is when Torin enters the vault and he's immediately like, how the hell did Harry build this place? In a cave.
With a bunch of scraps!
Harry appears in front of everyone and starts talking to them about who he is and how he's prepared to lead the Foundation through the crisis of their war with the traitors. He has it all figured out, and he's even happy to see that there's a Mallow in the room. As he's starting to lay out his plan, he gets interrupted by Torin, who asks the $64,000 question when he asks, what about the mule? Selden is dumbfounded and humbly asks, what is the mule? Which makes sense, actually, since this version of Harry was never told about the mule from Gaal. And did y'all notice here, Homegirl actually did pull out the hologram and press the button, even though she lied to everyone and said she's not controlling it? Y'all peeped that, right? And before anyone can say jinkies, the mule appears on hologram and starts taunting these guys the way he did Dawn, talking smack about how taking Foundation was always part of his plan. Was it always a part of Harry's? And just when the Foundation needs Harry the most, just when they're at their most vulnerable and all hope seems lost, Harry does the most important thing possible and runs like a bitch. He gets the fuck out of there and throws up his no field and kicks everyone the F out of his house for bringing all this trouble to his doorstep. The future is effed. We then switch back to Gaal and Demerzel wrapping up their conversation, with Gaal asking if Demerzel will help Gaal in her mission. Demerzel lets her know that she can't do nothing until she can confirm that whatever she does, it does not harm the Cleonic dynasty. And Demerzel is about to dip, but before she does, she intercepts a transmission letting us and the world know that the mule has taken New Terminus. And he's taken this planet to gain access to their whisper ships and their fleets, meaning he can be at New Terminus in a heartbeat. And end credits. So yeah, episode 6 delivered. We got Gaal and Demerzel pulling off the sci-fi equivalent of a psychic bank heist recon mission, Demerzel glitching in the middle of the mission, exposing a new potential weakness, and then boom, the mule taking New Terminus like it was on sale. Whisper ships, fleets, full control. My man is picking up planets like he just turned the galaxy into his personal Uber route. This is Foundation at its most dangerous. And the scariest part, next week, it's only getting worse. I'm already connecting dots on how this mind meld could be the only shot at stopping the Mule. But if I'm right, the cost might be something Gaal can't walk away from. So I'm throwing it to you. What's the bigger game changer? Demerzel's little oops, I can be hurt moment, or the Mule flexing with a whole planet in his pocket, or Magnifico just being a little too sus for comfort? Let me know below. And if you made it this far, you're clearly Foundation family. So subscribe, because we're just getting started and you're not going to want to miss the next drop. That's all I have for this one. I'm going to check you all later. Peace.